You cannot truly start a new life until you're willing to confront and let go of the old one. That might sound simple, maybe even cliche, but it's the part most people skip. We get excited about change. We fantasize about transformation, but we rarely stop to ask ourselves, what are we carrying forward that was never meant to come with us? The truth is, before that, transformation isn't just about addition. It's about subtraction. It's about cutting away what no longer fits. And this is where it begins identifying the roots of your current life that are keeping you anchored to the version of yourself you're trying to outgrow. That means looking inward with honesty, even when it's uncomfortable, especially when it's uncomfortable. Ask yourself, what are the habits, patterns, and mindsets that have shaped your days so far? Not just the obvious ones like procrastination or distraction, but the more subtle ones. Self-doubt, the need for validation, the quiet voice that tells you, this is just how I've always been. Those are the roots, and those are the ones you must be willing to dig up. Now, sometimes it's not just about you. Sometimes the things holding you back are the environments you've stayed in too long, the people you surround yourself with, the opinions you've allowed to shape your decisions. It could be a friend who keeps you small with passive criticism, a job that pays well but drains your soul, or even a family dynamic where your growth feels like a betrayal. You cannot plant a new tree in soil that's already poisoned. You have to pull yourself out. That's not rebellion. That's responsibility. And here's the hard part. Letting go will feel like loss at first. It will feel like a kind of death, because in many ways it is. You are shedding identities. You are stepping away from the familiar. You are walking away from what once gave you comfort, even if that comfort came with pain. The mind doesn't like change before like. The ego clings to what it knows. But if you're serious about starting a new life, you must become more loyal to your future than your past. This isn't about perfection. Before like, it's about awareness. You don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to start with honesty. Before like, are you willing to live without the things that are silently killing your spirit? Are you willing to disappoint others in order to stop disappointing yourself? Before like, I've seen it time and time again, people trying to create change with the same tools that built their current reality, trying to rise without first releasing. But the new life you're trying to build will reject anything that doesn't align with it. It's not personal, it's physics. You can't fit expansion into the shape of old limitation. The energy doesn't match. That's why clarity matters. You have to decide, what am I no longer available for? And then follow that decision with action. Not just once, but every day. Before like, every moment you say no to the old patterns, you're reinforcing the neural wiring of your new life. Every time you walk away from an energy that shrinks you, you're sending a message to your own subconscious that says, I'm serious this time. You'll be tested. You'll be tempted to slide back into comfort. Before like, people around you might not understand. That's okay. Their understanding is not a prerequisite for your transformation. What matters is your alignment. Before like, if you keep returning to what hurt you, what confused you, what kept you stuck, not because it's right, but because it's familiar, you'll delay the life that's trying to emerge. Before like, don't wait for a crisis to force you into change. Don't wait until everything is burning to realize you should have left the match unlit. The moment you realize something no longer serves your highest growth, that's your cue. You don't need drama to justify your evolution. You just need a decision. And once you make it, honor it, protect it, build boundaries around it, even if no one claps for you, especially then, because the beginning of a new life often happens in silence, in solitude, in deep internal commitment. It doesn't come with fireworks. It comes with discipline and often pain. But here's what I know: when you start removing what you're not, what remains is the clearest version of who you truly are. And from there, your new life doesn't just begin, it builds. Because the past is a place of reference, not residence. Once you've created space by letting go of what no longer serves you, the question becomes, what now? And that's where many people get stuck. They remove the noise before like, but they don't replace it with direction. They break old patterns but never set a new path. Before like, starting a new life isn't just about what you're leaving behind. It's about what you're choosing to move toward. That's where clarity becomes everything. Without a clear internal compass, you'll drift. You'll be influenced by every passing opinion, every external expectation, every shiny distraction. Before like, you'll find yourself pulled in a dozen directions at once, not because you're weak, but because you haven't decided what truly matters. You haven't defined your why. And in a world that's constantly trying to sell you identities, it's crucial that you define your own. A new life starts with new values, not borrowed ones, not inherited ones, but values you choose consciously. What do you stand for, even when no one is watching? What do you refuse to compromise on, even when it's inconvenient? Because values aren't just abstract ideas, they are the structure your new life is going to be built on. I often encourage people to start with just three core values that feel non-negotiable to who you're becoming. Maybe it's integrity, or peace, or purpose. Maybe it's curiosity or growth. Whatever they are, choose them with intention. Not based on what sounds good on paper, but based on what brings you alive. Because your values are not just words. They are the blueprint for your decisions. They shape how you show up and what you pursue and walk away from. Once you're clear on those values, the next step is to build rituals that reinforce them. The truth is, identity doesn't form in grand declarations. It forms in repetition, in what you do when no one's watching, in how you start your morning, in how you respond to stress, in what you prioritize when time is tight. That's where your real life is happening, not in the future, but in the micro decisions you make today. So ask yourself, does your daily routine reflect the person you say you want to become? If your values include peace, are you creating moments of stillness in your day? Or are you living in constant reaction mode? If you say growth matters to you, are you dedicating time to learning, to reflection, to stretching beyond your comfort zone? Or are you just surviving, waiting for the perfect moment to start? Here's the reality: there is no perfect moment. The new life you want will not arrive wrapped in certainty. It will come quietly, disguised as a small decision. A better morning, a tougher boundary, a more honest answer, a deeper breath before you react. It doesn't ask for permission. It asks for commitment. You don't need a 10-year plan. You need a clear sense of direction. And that starts internally. When your compass is set, external choice loses its power over you. You no longer need to be everything to everyone. You no longer shape-shift to fit the room. You become rooted, grounded. Not in stubbornness, but in self-awareness. That's the shift. That's when momentum begins to build. One of the most powerful things you can do is ask yourself every morning, what would the future version of me do today? Not the idealized version, not the flawless version, just the next version, the one you're building into. When you start living from that question, decisions get clearer. You stop chasing validation and start chasing alignment. You stop performing and start becoming. Now, it's not always going to feel good. In fact, sometimes alignment will feel like friction because you're choosing the unfamiliar, and the unfamiliar feels wrong before it feels right. But don't confuse discomfort with misdirection. Growth often feels like resistance at first. The key is trusting your values more than your emotions. Emotions shift, values anchor. And let me say this, no one can do this part for you. No motivational speech, no self-help book, no algorithm on your phone can give you direction unless you've already decided where you're going. Technology can scale your journey, but only you can choose it. Only you can set the compass. When you get this part right, everything else begins to align. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop doubting and start building. And you realize that you don't need to see the entire staircase to take the first step. You just need to trust the direction. Because when you lead from within, you don't just start a new life, you design it. A new life doesn't just happen because we hope for it. It happens because we're willing to show up for it. Every day, especially on the days when it's inconvenient. This is where mindset comes in, and not the kind of mindset that's built on hype or temporary motivation. I'm talking about a disciplined mindset, the kind you cultivate slowly, intentionally with practice. What you believe internally will always shape what you experience externally. That's not philosophy. It's pattern. The quality of your thoughts becomes the quality of your actions. The quality of your actions becomes the rhythm of your days. And the rhythm of your days eventually becomes the story of your life. If you don't take control of that first domino, your mindset, everything else begins to fall in ways you didn't choose. Now, when people hear the word discipline, they often associate it with punishment or restriction. But true discipline is not about control. It's about freedom. It's the freedom to choose what matters most over what feels good in the moment. It's the ability to remain grounded when everything around you is uncertain. And that kind of mindset doesn't come from inspiration. It comes from training. Just like you train a muscle, you train your mind. And that starts in the small moments, not the big ones. It starts when the alarm goes off in the morning and you choose to rise, not snooze. It starts when your attention drifts and you pull it back again and again. It starts when you're triggered and you pause to breathe rather than react. These moments seem small, but they compound. They shape you. They forge resilience. Before, we've all heard people say they're waiting to feel ready. But readiness is a myth. You don't wait to feel disciplined. You practice discipline before, and that practice creates the readiness. Every time you do the hard thing, instead of the easy one, you reinforce the identity of someone who follows through. That's how mindset is built, not with lofty ideas, but with daily decisions. And here's something important to recognize. You can't think your way into a new life. You have to act your way into it. Too many people spend time analyzing, planning, questioning, and while reflection is essential, it's action that moves the needle. If your thoughts aren't followed by movement, they become noise. Real mindset work happens when thought and behavior align. So how do you train your mind? Start with awareness. Become conscious of your inner dialogue. Notice the thoughts that pull you backward, the ones that say, "You're not good enough," or "This won't work. Why even bother?" Don't fight them. Just don't follow them. You're not obligated to believe everything you think. You can choose better thoughts. You can build better stories. From there, build discipline into your day through structure. Create a rhythm that supports your intention. Wake up at a time that gives you space. Set rituals that anchor your focus, whether that's breathwork, reading, journaling, or simply sitting in silence. It's not the form that matters, it's the consistency. When your life has structure, your mind finds clarity, and clarity becomes fuel for discipline. But let's be honest, this is not always glamorous. Discipline can feel lonely. It often means saying no when everyone else is saying yes. It means getting comfortable with delayed gratification. It means choosing growth over ease and purpose over comfort. But the reward is far greater than the struggle, because eventually discipline becomes identity. And when it's part of who you are, it doesn't require willpower. It becomes automatic. There's a deeper part of this too. Discipline isn't just about personal gain. It's about self-respect. It's about honoring your own potential. When you commit to something and follow through, you build trust with yourself. And that trust is powerful. It silences self-doubt. It creates momentum. It tells your own mind, "I am someone who shows up." That inner credibility is what carries you through the difficult seasons. The days when motivation disappears and the goal still feels far away. Let's also not ignore the role of pain. Growth doesn't happen in the absence of struggle. It happens because of it. The goal isn't to eliminate difficulty. The goal is to meet it with the right mindset. With enough discipline, pain doesn't become a stop sign. It becomes fuel. It sharpens your focus. It strips away distraction. It reminds you that what you're building is worth the effort. Ultimately, every day is a vote for the person you're becoming. Your habits, your choices, your mental discipline, they're all shaping your future, whether you're aware of it or not. And once you realize that, you start living differently. You stop outsourcing your power. You stop waiting for the right time. You become the architect of your own evolution, because change doesn't start with a breakthrough. It starts with a decision. And then another and another. Once you've cleared out the old, set your direction, and trained your mindset, there's one more piece to the puzzle that often gets overlooked. But it's critical. You have to protect your energy. Because even with the best intentions and the strongest mindset, if you're constantly surrounded by noise, negativity, or chaos, it will slowly drain you. Not all at once, but bit by bit, until one day you wake up wondering why you feel off track again. Energy is your most valuable resource. More than time, more than money. Because without energy, you can't focus. Without focus, you can't build. And without building, your vision stays a theory instead of becoming reality. That's why protecting your energy is not a luxury. It's a discipline. It's a strategic decision. And in the process of starting a new life, it becomes non-negotiable. Now, let's be clear. Protecting your energy doesn't mean cutting yourself from the world. It doesn't mean living in isolation or building walls around your life. It means becoming selective about what and who you allow into your space. It means recognizing that not every conversation deserves your attention. Not every invitation requires a yes. And not every relationship earns access to your inner world. You'll quickly learn that not everyone is meant to go where you're headed. Some people knew you as who you were and they can't see who you're becoming. They'll resist your growth, not always out of malice, but because your evolution challenges their comfort. And that's okay. You don't need to convince anyone. You just need to keep moving forward quietly and deliberately. It starts by identifying the energy leaks. Where are you constantly giving but never receiving? Where are you shrinking to fit in? What environments leave you feeling depleted rather than inspired? Once you see those patterns, don't rationalize them. Interrupt them. Protecting your energy means making choices that are aligned with your values, even if they're unpopular, especially then. And sometimes, the noise isn't external, it's internal. It's the scrolling, the comparing, the constant influx of information that overwhelms rather than empowers. We live in a world of endless input, but not everything you consume is helping you grow. You have to ask, is this feeding my mind or flooding it? Is this expanding my perspective or distracting me from it? That's why creating space is essential. Space to think, space to breathe, space to reflect. Silence is not a lack of productivity. It's a container for clarity. It's where your next move comes from. But silence only speaks to those willing to listen. You won't hear your own voice if you're always tuned into everyone else's. Build boundaries around your focus the same way a craftsman protects his tools. Make your mornings sacred. Turn your phone off when you need to think deeply. Say no without apology. It's not arrogance, it's alignment. Because when you protect your energy, you're not pushing others away. You're creating space for the right things to come in. You'll also find that certain habits hold energy more than others. Movement, for example. Walking, stretching, training. It doesn't just strengthen your body, it renews your mind. Rest too is a form of power, not laziness, not checking out, but intentional recovery. Because you can't pour from an empty cup, and burnout isn't proof of ambition. It's a signal you've been out of balance for too long. And here's something that's often misunderstood. Protecting your energy doesn't make you soft. It makes you sharp. It allows you to show up with presence and precision. It gives you the capacity to lead, to create, to give with strength instead of strain. The people who create the most meaningful impact are not the ones who say yes to everything. They're the ones who know what to say yes to. When your energy is protected, your decisions become clearer. Your work becomes deeper. Your relationships become richer. You stop being reactive and start being intentional. You stop rushing and start refining. And in that space, your new life begins to take root. Every great builder knows it's not just about the structure. It's about the foundation. Protecting your energy is how you protect that foundation. It's how you make sure that what you're building is sustainable. Not just exciting today, but enduring tomorrow. Because in the end, you don't rise by accident. You rise by design.